Hey, it's Paul. I've been, and it feels like I've been lately binging a lot of YouTube. And so I looked at my calendar to confirm if that's true or not. And really, it was only yesterday, one day, where in the morning for a couple of hours, and then as I'm in bed trying to fall asleep, I got sucked in on my phone and watched for a couple hours, something like that. And in the previous days, I'm looking at my calendar, and I didn't even really binge much YouTube at all. And yet, even just with one day of binging YouTube for several hours in total, a few hours in total, it feels like, to give you a bit more context, I have a calendar here of how often I post my YouTube videos, and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I posted every single day, and I was on a roll, right? And then I was pretty busy Sunday, didn't post, and then Monday, Tuesday, I definitely could have, but did not. I didn't utilize the time that I had. Yeah. So now it's Wednesday, and I didn't post for 3 days in a row, which 3 days in a row starts to feel like a stretch when I haven't posted for that long. And this, being a YouTuber, my mic is a bit far. Okay. Being a YouTuber, my camera's a bit adjusted too. Yeah. I've been a YouTuber for over 2 years now, and there's this constant urge or feeling that you should be creating. My videos don't take that long to create. It depends on the video. Sometimes the video takes a whole day and hours of scripting and editing. But more often than not, these talking videos are just thoughts that I've been having that I just hit record and do it in one long take with zero editing. And so it's not that intense in my usual videos. Like, these are not that intense in the time that it takes to make. And so maybe it takes an hour or less from everything setting up to posting, and then title and just choosing the auto-generated thumbnail, maybe adding one or two things. It really is not that intensive on a day-to-day basis, depending on how much effort I want to put into the video. And so because each video doesn't take super long, usually, I have the sense that I should be creating videos every day, at least one a day, given I have the time to do it. And that pressure is constant. As a YouTuber, you just feel like you've fallen off. People, maybe from my Discord server, or people who just watch every single one of my videos, they feel like, where is he? It's been 3 days. Where's his next video? There's this constant expectation, being a YouTuber, that expectation of the audience that you feel, even if no one is saying, hey, where's your next video, you still feel this silent pressure from expectation that's all in your mind. It's all in my mind. But I have a sense that it's not just an imaginary thing. It's actually real, and I'm feeling, to some degree, a real expectation of what people have of the cadence of my video posting. So there's always this pressure. Doesn't matter if it's a weekend, doesn't matter if it's a weekday. And when I slack off and don't post for a while, even though I had the time to, and I just veg and watch some YouTube videos like yesterday during my free time. I enjoy watching those binge sessions. I actually thoroughly enjoy it. It's relaxing. It's fun. Sometimes it's funny. Like last night, watching some talks by Kevin Smith. He's a great storyteller. If you have no idea who he is, he wrote some scripts and created some movies. Anyways, it's a good time when I'm watching it. It's such a good time that I get sucked into it if given the opportunity, which is very, very frequently. But despite it being a good time, there's a sense of guilt. That, well, I shouldn't be binging too much. I shouldn't be indulging like this. I guess once in a while is okay, but I really should get back on track. And there's that feeling of guilt in that sense. And I've been dealing with that better and better over the weeks, months, and years since my journey of creating YouTube. There seems to be a less strong guilt, a sense of guilt that I'm holding on to each time that arises. Because I'm like, well, I had a binge session like one day yesterday, and it felt good, and I don't do it every day, and that was a nice reprieve from just being on track and not binging anything, just keeping my consumption to a minimum. You need a balance sometimes. It's okay to binge once in a while. I have these counter thoughts that counter the guilt. And I don't feel as bad as I maybe used to have felt. But that feeling is still always there, no matter how much you counter it. Feeling of guilt, feeling of I should be doing more, feeling of I shouldn't be binging content like this. So it's an ever-present feeling. And this feeling really is tied to my sense of self-worth. If I look into it, it's like, well, I call myself a creator, yet if I'm just consuming and not creating, then I'm not being a good creator. I'm being a bad creator. These kind of phrasing and wording doesn't come to my mind in the form of words. It's just a feeling. It's just a kind of like someone poking me in the back silently. I'm like, hey. I'm like, yeah, I feel you. You don't have to say exactly what that feeling is. I kind of feel the presence of that feeling, just poking me at the back. Like, hey, you've been watching a lot. And I think this sense of guilt is actually healthy to an extent. Like, you want this kind of rubber band mechanic where if you slack off a certain degree, then you want to snap back to, being maybe accomplishing what you want to accomplish in the long term, and focusing on the day-to-day activities to do that. But yeah, it feels like I'm getting rubber banded both ways. Like, when I slack off, I rubber band and snap back to becoming more productive creatively, maybe, or back to going to the gym at least, or all the things that the targets of my daily goals, mostly those two, going to the gym and making videos. Those are my top priorities when I'm by myself. And I say that, but yet my actions don't always show that, because I would much rather just binge watch YouTube instead of doing either of those. So I rubber band and snap back to being more productive when I slack off too much, just like when I watched a lot of YouTube yesterday. But then when I also I'm super productive and make like 4 videos in a row, and have, or maybe even a longer stretch of time where I just made a video every day for many days, and I've had stretches like that, and or just at least working on a video every day. And when I stretch myself that way, then the rubber band just snaps me back to like, well, I'm just gonna, I don't feel like doing any of that. I'm just gonna take a break. And so this rubber band mechanic happens both ways, both for slacking off and for being super productive. It seems to snap me back in opposite directions, and I'm oscillating between the two states, between slacking off and consuming all the time and being super productive many days in a row. It just keeps oscillating and snapping back. So I don't know if this is, I mean, it feels pretty natural. I think that it kind of happens with a lot of people. I don't know if you've experienced this yourself and you have this kind of oscillation just like I do. If you do, I'd love to know. If you let me know in the comments, I'd love to know if you have that kind of rhythm too, or if your rhythm is slightly different. I'd love to hear. But yeah, I just wonder, it's probably a natural phenomena, but is it a healthy one? Should I be adjusting the oscillation range so that I'm more productive and less wasting time all the time? I feel like that kind of happened over the years, where I used to be consuming all the time every day, and then now I'm more and more creating overall, if you look at the big picture on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. But yeah, it feels regardless of how the range has shifted more towards productivity, it feels like every setback of binging consumption feels like you've slipped, and it doesn't feel like 2 steps forward, 1 steps back. It feels like even a long stretch of creativity or going to the gym consistently, anything like that, it feels like 1 step forward, and when you stop that and do the opposite of maybe slacking or lazing, it feels like 2 steps back. That's just a feeling. I know that it's not like that factually. If you have maybe 4 days or a week of doing all the things that you set out to do, the things that you are aiming to do, and you did that, and you have 1 or 2 days of slacking off, then the ratio is, well, you did a lot more of what you set out to do. So that's the positive ratio. It's in the positive direction. But that's not the way it feels. It feels like every 1 day of, or 1 or 2 days of slacking off feels like a massive setback compared to the whole week of productive. And I hate using that word productive. It's like, well, are you really less of a person because you weren't productive, and do you have to be productive all the time? Are we worthless if we are not productive? I think these questions they come in the form of feelings, not actual words in your head. It's just a feeling that you have. This topic of tying your worthiness to productivity. And I heard a quote by Carl Rogers in a Mark Manson video about 14 life-changing quotes. And one of the things by Carl Rogers was famous psychiatrist, I think. Or no, famous psychologist, sorry, not psychiatrist. Famous psychologist Carl Rogers said, paradoxically, when you don't try to change yourself and accept yourself for who you are, that is the moment that you can begin to change yourself, or something like that, where you accept yourself, and out of acceptance of the way you are comes the possibility of change. That step is actually necessary of accepting yourself before you can change. Because if you don't even accept yourself the way you are, you're not even gonna have a successful time changing yourself or the way you are right now. So acceptance comes first before change. Acceptance of all your flaws and all your tendencies and all your pitfalls of what you keep falling to again and again. All those things, your work ethic or lack thereof, everything that your tendency is, accepting all those comes first if you want to do anything about it. So that was a pretty interesting quote to read, and I guess I've heard that kind of thing before, where acceptance comes first before any possibility of change. True acceptance comes, self-acceptance is the beginning of bettering yourself. So I guess when it comes to myself, accepting that I love watching YouTube. I have a tendency when I just want to veg and chill and rest, which is a lot of times, I have a tendency to just want to veg and rest and consume videos on YouTube. That's a tendency that I have, and I've had that tendency for years and decades. Like, YouTube is my kryptonite more than video games or, I don't know, any type of doing drugs or drinking alcohol or anything like that. YouTube is my drug, not video games or any of the other vices, getting high on weed or anything like that. So yeah, YouTube is usually my pitfall, which is a pretty tame pitfall, but a pitfall nonetheless. When you feel like you're being set back a few steps from the progress that you've made. But yeah, I guess this is going on a lot longer than I thought. But I think, what am I trying to get at here? The reason I said all those things, oh yeah, so I accept, or I should, and it's hard to, but accept myself for the tendencies that I have of just wanting to laze and binge watch. That tendency, that is the way that I am now and have been for a long time, even if it's been moving in the positive direction of me wanting to do that less and less over the years. Because I remember when I was depressed in 2019 and 2020 during COVID, my tendency was to binge watch stuff all day, every day. And that's not my reality anymore. I don't do that. Even yesterday when I said I binged, that was about 2 hours in the morning and 2 to 3 hours at night, which is a lot, but compared to the everyday whole day binging of 8 to 12 hours a day of binging during COVID times in my depression, I've come a long way. So I guess it's just gotta notice those things. It doesn't feel like it every time you have it set back that you've come a long way. But yeah, it's just, I guess that's how feelings work. They focus more on the negative, and the negatives feel more powerful than the positives. And you don't sense the sense of improvement unless you really look back and look at things objectively in terms of the quantity of ratio of times that you spent either chasing your aims and following your aims or slacking. So yeah, it's a constant struggle. It's a constant struggle back and forth. So is there a solution? I accept myself the way I am. That's step 1. And I guess step 2 is being open to the possibility of change and trying to, once you accept yourself, you try to change. I don't know. That one quote doesn't tell you what the next steps are. That quote by Carl Rogers tells you step 1, acceptance, and then after that doesn't say if anything happens naturally or anyways. I guess I don't necessarily need a solution. I just need to be aware of my tendencies and the way things have been going on the past few days, and I self-correct, like today, making a video at as it's approaching noon, midday. So yeah, it's a constant back and forth, and I'm sure this is just me just venting about how I feel, but yeah, there's nothing for me to really do about this. I think things, the natural progression of rubber banding back and forth is fine to an extent. I think it's fine. Just thoughts that you have in the transition periods, right, when you're rubber banding backwards. So yeah, I don't think there's anything I have to really do other than focusing on getting back on track, which is what I'm doing already. So yeah, I don't have to worry about anything. All right. Well, if you're still here, let me know either in the comments or otherwise in my community tab, but most likely the comments, if you have thoughts on this, if you have your own tendencies that you notice, how you feel about productivity being tied to your sense of self-worth. If you have any thoughts on anything I've said, and you have, your personal experiences that you want to share, please let me know in the comments, because I want to hear what I want to hear what you think about these topics. And I don't want this to just be me talking into just a one-sided talk. I want it to be a conversation. So leave me a comment, or even if it's just I've been watching you for a while but I never commented. I love those comments too, because I have no idea who's watching me unless you comment, right? The comments are the only way I know if you've watched it or what you think about it, or if you watch me more than one video. So let me know in the comments. All right. Gym. Yeah, I didn't go to the gym yet. I had a doctor's appointment in the morning, so I will go to the gym after lunch. I better go before it gets busy. 1% better every day, baby.